Hello everybody, Lord Almighty here. Today is Saturday, May 5th, 2018. It is Cinco de Mayo. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody. And just like everybody else on Cinco de Mayo, I am looking for a party. And my guest list is composed of largemouth bass. That's why I've come to this pond, which is absolutely loaded with largemouth bass, to see if I can't get something going to start these Cinco de Mayo festivities. And I'm actually going to be doing something I've never done before. I am going to start out by fishing with this contraption. Most of you probably recognize this as an Alabama rig. This is actually an ultralight version that's put out by Man's Bait Company. I saw it on sale at Dick's Sporting Goods and I thought, you know what? Never tried it before. I'm going to give it a shot. I've got it outfitted with 2-inch Kitech swing impacts. I've never used the 2-inch Kitechs either, but I imagine they work just as well as the larger ones that have become favorites out of my tackle box. So, the goal for today, given that we have a pond full of small ravenous bass, is not necessarily to catch anything big, but what I'd really like is to get a double or possibly even a triple on this bait. So, let's see if we can get some tiny, stupid largemouths that want to play with me today. Well, I've been using this thing for about 20 minutes, and I gotta say, not impressed so far. The baits seem to foul up pretty frequently. I'd say at least every 3 or 4 casts. Doesn't look that impressive going through the water. And most damning of all, not a single fish on it yet. Not even a follow that I've seen. I'll stick with it a little bit longer, because I just got a feeling that if I find like a school of bass and I bring it through, I'm going to wind up with a triple like right away. But we'll see. I'll give it a fair chance. I won't close the book on it yet. Jesus. This thing, it's like trying to fish with a chandelier. It just will not run right. Okay guys, I've been fishing with this thing for over an hour, and to say it's not working for me is a gross understatement. Not only am I not catching any fish whatsoever, the baits are fouling up almost constantly, and the line is getting wrapped underneath the bait head. So not only is it not effective, it doesn't even seem to work right. And I'm going to have to cut this off and see if I can do something else to salvage the day. So I'm certainly not impressed with this, but before I reach my final verdict, I will reiterate, I am not experienced in these lures, so I want to know if you guys see something that I'm doing wrong. Am I fishing it wrong? Do I have it rigged up wrong? I mean, these are all the factory parts that came with the bait. I mean, same head, same snap, swivel, same hardware, everything. So as far as I know, this is the way you're supposed to fish it. But you know, am I reeling it in too fast, too slow? Are the wires spread out too far? Are they not spread out far enough? You know, I just really don't know. I mean, knowing these ponds and my history with them, I feel like this should have worked. You know, I should have at least caught a few fish on it. But I've watched it go by several bass, and they flat out ignored it. They did not even move to look at this thing. So if you recognize something I might not be doing correctly with this, please let me know. I certainly want to be fair to the manufacturer before I start panning this thing. But for right now, I'm going to have to table this, and I am going to figure out a way to catch some bass today. There we go, fish on. All right, first one of the day. Not big. Not better than what I was getting. Alright. Came on a slug-go. Weightless slug-go. So there are fish in here. Good to know. There's a fish. Oh! Came off. Gave me a jump and he came off. Alright, alright. I see how it's going to be. There's a fish. It's one of the few fish I've got to commit to this thing so far. Most of the hits I've gotten have been really, really tentative. Not a big fish, but a fish is a fish at this point. It's just been super duper slow. I've taken to sight casting to a lot of these fish, and the hits I've been getting with this is they've just been like nipping at it. And some of the fish are on beds, I can tell, but some of them aren't. And I know, like, when they're on this thing, they just engulf it. There's like almost no way to miss them. But yeah, definitely not getting that today. It's been a tough bite. Alright guys, well, today has been a struggle so far. I struck out with the Alabama rig, and I was getting some hits on that soft jerkbait, but the fish were just like nipping at it. They weren't committed, and I wasn't getting many hookups at all. So I got one more thing I want to try. I tied on this hard jerkbait. This is a Rapala ripstop. It's actually the first time I've ever used this thing. I'm anxious to see how well it does. And my thinking is, since I was getting some hits on that jerkbait, I'd go with one that's got treble hooks on it, so this way if they just kind of nip at the tail or swipe at it, there's a good chance they could still get some treble hooks stuck in them. So hopefully this strategy will pay off, and I'll be able to actually bring some fish to hand on this thing. Oh, there's a fish. Oh geez, look at this, I'm just spinning him in. Look at that. Just spinning, spinning, spinning. He's a tiny one. Got those treble hooks though. So, at least we know I can land fish on this bait. There's some kids over there fishing. They found this place today, actually, the same way I did. They checked on Google Earth. They were so excited when they found this place. I was talking to them a little bit and I told them about it, and their eyes just went wide. They are so happy to be here right now. And I think that's awesome. Oh, there's a fish. Oh, he came off. Wow. Boy, even with the double trebles, that fish just came off. And he hit it hard too. I don't know. I just don't know, man. It's been that kind of a day. There we go. Little fish. Ow! Fuck. Stuck me with that hook point. Alright. You treat me rough, I'll treat you a little rough. He's fine though. Alright, well, the midday sun is really starting to beat down. So whatever window I might have had, I think is past. So I think it's time to wrap it up. Today was a struggle. Really couldn't get much going. Kind of took it on the chin, but hey, you know what? It happens sometimes, and it makes you appreciate the good days all the better. I really am curious about that Alabama rig, though. You know, if you notice something I wasn't doing right, let me know, because I'm not sure if that was just a crappy lure or if I'm a crappy fisherman. I'm kind of like 50-50 on that right now, so any kind of insight you can provide would be greatly appreciated. So thank you all so much for joining me today, and I will see you on the next adventure.